So one day I was scrolling through some used camera offers on the Polish eBay equivalent and I found something interesting. Point-and shoot with 2.8 lens, which was not Olympus MJU and even more so Contax T2, because it cost like $100. So have I found the perfect compact 35mm camera? Pentax PC35AF was released in 1982. 2 years later the AFM version came up, where M probably stands for motorized, because the only difference was the automatic winding mechanism. Well, I chose the first one. It's much neater, smaller, and this early 80s design really fits me. And in a lot of situations those loud noises of the winder are truly unwanted. But well, if you really don't want to strain your thumb, you can buy an external winder which you can attach to the standard AF version. Pentax seems quite solid. It's made from good quality plastic combined with metal, and it works with 2 AAA batteries. Was a pretty strong asset for me. My Canon Prima 5 I was talking about in the point and shoot episode needs a CR123 battery, which you can't just find in a grocery store around the corner. So yeah, the lens, 35mm 2.8, it sounds promising and it's really fantastic for a point and shoot. Sharp, contrasty, negligible distortion, deals quite nicely with direct sunlight. There is some vignetting, but it is also on my $1,500 lens, so I let it slide. The camera doesn't have the X-coding, so the ISO has to be set manually, and it's good actually, because you can use stuff like Lomochrome films without the X-code, or you can over or underexpose the roll if you want. So it's one more way to control the camera. The only downside is that the range ends at 400 ISO, so Delta 3200 won't fit Pentax at all. Okay, let's talk about autofocus for a minute. It's designed in a unique way because in the viewfinder is an indicator that informs you after half pressing the shutter button where the focus point is set. So there are 3 zone focusing marks, and I found a review where the author claims that the autofocus is limited to those 3 zones, like it can detect only 3 specific distances. But well, it sounds like a bullshit to me. First of all, the needle can stop between 2 pictograms, so it means that the camera can measure the distance pretty accurately. Pentax manual said that autofocus works from 0.7 meter to infinity, and that it uses an infrared active autofocus system. And well, the images are much sharper than in my Canon Prima 5. Look at this cat photo. It was pretty dim scenery, so the aperture was probably around 2.8. You can clearly see that the head is in focus, but the back is quite blurry, out of depth of field for sure. And another shot which is tack sharp, although the depth of field is quite shallow. So I tend to believe that autofocus in this camera is something more than just a free zone autofocus. Of course, after half pressing the shutter button you're able to recompose the frame. By the way, those light leaks are the film's fault, not the camera. The cool thing about Pentax is the ability to add 1.5 EV to the exposure. It's a little bit unhandy because the button needs to be pressed with the shutter button at the same time, but it's a good feature to have while shooting against the sun. The flash is designed in the old school way, so you need to flick the switch to pop it out, without unnecessary clicking and browsing through the menu on an illegible small display. When it's hidden, it won't fire, it won't turn on automatically, so simple and practical. So a Pentax PC35AF was certainly skipped by the hype, although the lens is a real banger and autofocus, no matter how rudimentary it seems to be, works just perfectly. I mean, the needle that indicates the distance slides in the strange mechanical way, but I didn't miss any shot throughout two rolls, and the exposure metering is never less than excellent. So, answering the question, I'm pretty sure I found a perfect point and shoot, which does what every compact camera should for next to nothing.
Am I a hero? I really can't say, but yes.